everybody for joining us today for our Friday program, Protecting Paradise with Friends of Palm Beach. I'm Elaine Christian. I'm a Sustainability Program Coordinator with the City of West Palm Beach Office of Sustainability, and we are so excited to be partnering with Diane today. And she is currently live on the beach. They're out there doing cleanup as they do, I think, every day almost, if not actually every day. But she'll get into those details a little later for us. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Diane to introduce herself and her wonderful organization. Let me stop my screen here so you guys can actually see Diane. Diane, are you there?
I believe so. I can see me. Can you see me?
We can see you.
Okay, great. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Wonderful. Well, here we are at the beach. And as Murphy's Law always has it, the days I have cleanups or the days I have a group like you, there isn't a ton of trash, but there's actually enough trash to show y'all what we do and why we do it. I'm going to try to turn me around so you can see me. This is Savano. Say hi, Savano, one of my crew. This is Jamil, my driver, my manager. I see trash actually washing in right here. Black plastic bag, it looks like. So, Friends of Palm Beach. I founded it many years ago. I moved here 15 years ago. I used to dive here 30 years ago. And coming down to this paradise that existed, absolutely loving the scuba diving here. We are on the front lines of what's happening to our ocean and the pandemic that exists for decades now with plastics and trash ruining our ocean and the marine life that exists inside of it. So when I moved here, I got to realize that the trash is washing ashore because we are so close to the Gulf Stream, 3 to 4 nautical miles, depending on the stream's current flow, and it washes ashore here. If you look at our geography in Florida, we jut out the furthest east. So that Gulf Stream is bringing that trash around the Atlantic Ocean, and the winds are bringing it right here to shore. So, and the canals that we have, the Army Corps of Engineers built many years ago, C-51 or C-17, are bringing the trash from inland. Royal Palm Beach, Long Glade, we get trash from everywhere. So, having dove here for 30 years, wanting to protect the reefs, understanding that the trash was washing ashore, I started Friends of Palm Beach by hook or by crook with individuals teaching me along the way, like Tom Warnke from Surfrider, Lorda Sferris from Key Palm Beach County Beautiful. I met a lot of great people from all different groups while scuba diving that taught me, John and Nancy Marshall from the Arthur Marshall Foundation, more about our ecology here, more about how it's all interrelated. I knew how much I already loved the underwater world and how much I wanted to protect it. So it was one person, me, wanting to make change and be a solution. And it's possible because 6-7 years later now, we have 180,000 pounds of trash under our belt. And that trash consists of these little guys here. There we go, Jamil. We got a little bottle cap there. So far, they've gotten straws, caps, and microplastics are what is the word of the day this week, just due to that ocean being as strong as it was the last few days and weeks with the easterly winds and all those tropical Sallys and Hurricane Sallys and whoever is next. So this is what we find. The sargassum seaweed has become the filter of the ocean. Nobody asked it to. It was really just the place that all the little creatures grew up. Hatchlings head to it. It's just an amazing ecosystem out there, but we are impacting it every single day, every single moment, not only with this trash, but with the increase of pollutions and the heating up of the ocean and the nitrates that this plant-like material loves to grow from. So sargassum is increasing. This trash is pushing the trash ashore, and luckily, it helps us to get it off the beach so it's not going back out again to harm the animals. And this area here usually has 4 times as much trash, but the latest winds and seas have sucked it back out again. And that is one of the banes of my world because I really like to get it before it goes back out again. And the reality is it's it's just not the case. The reality is the ocean, as fierce as it is, will take it as easy as it will drop it. So my crew is mighty, small but mighty. We had a few more people before COVID. COVID affected us and that we had to streamline as far as social distancing in the pickup truck. And we have one other crew that works in a different area with our beach vehicles. So that's what we're doing every day, Monday to Friday. We're out here, 8 a.m. to 2:30, weather allowing, permitting. They come out in the rain. My driver's from Oregon. She doesn't think rain should hamper anybody. So we're out here, and we were doing community cleanups. COVID has put the brakes on that for now, but we plan to get back out there next month with a small crew, so the community can help. And with those, I have an audience that is captive because they're there with me to do a cleanup, and I can talk about single-use plastics, eliminating their use, changing your habits, because that is what's going to save this beautiful paradise here and everywhere, not only our oceans, but our parks and our water system, the Everglades. If we don't stop consuming, if we stop consuming, the manufacturers will stop making it. And that's the problem. We are laden with single-use plastics. Our disposable, convenient society these days, you just go, you get a plastic water bottle from the 7-Eleven. You know, my daughter has used the Ziploc bag for months now. We have very few of them in our house. We will reuse them. We've changed our habits in my home over the course of the last decade to 2 decades to eliminate as much as we can, to refuse plastics, single-use plastics specifically are the ones that are more rampant in our environment, and they just shouldn't be. The animals don't know the difference between a plastic bag and a jellyfish. They don't know that they shouldn't be picking at plastic water bottles, that it's not their food. It looks like their food in the ocean. So the more we can do as individuals, not only in cleanups, I'd like to do away with cleanups. I'd like to do away with the need for cleanups. But unfortunately, the reality is we got to continue to do cleanups until we stop that production line of plastics. You know, this out there easily look like jellyfish, and that will easily get consumed. And as we all know, that stuff just can't get past, and the animal ends up dying. So I try to talk the talk at my cleanups with the community at large to make them understand that they have the power every single day as consumers to decrease this impact on our environment and get a reusable water bottle. You get your reusable bags. You know, the straw, we don't need the straw. Now there are so many options of straws. West Palm Beach was one of the first to go ahead and do an ordinance to eliminate plastic straws, right, guys? Thank you for that. So it's doable, and we all have the power to do it, even if it's one small step. This was one small step for me. I went on my own cleaning the beaches, and then I realized more was needed. So with the Solid Waste Authority and their Adopt a Spot, I started small, and now we are small but mighty, but we are making a huge impact every day. Probably between 100 and 300 pounds of trash on the different beaches that we cover Monday to Friday. And then again with our community cleanups. So that's kind of my spiel. I think I covered a lot of it.
Diane, I have a question.
That I wanted to, at that point, unless you guys know what I might have missed. There are so many great groups out there doing what I do, small groups and larger groups that you yourself can join. Sea Turtle Adventures, there's Friends of Jupiter Beach, Loggerhead is a large, you all must know about Loggerhead Marine Life Center, an amazing rehab place for turtles that also does cleanups, Gumbo Limbo, all along our Palm Beach County coastline. You can find a cleanup group that you can join. But what I've been telling people lately with COVID is get out there yourself. I mean, yeah, you might be a little afraid to pick up the masks and the gloves that we've been finding more regularly, but I can lend you a grabber. I can lend you a bucket. You can go to your community. This morning was my garbage day in my street. I went out to get something from my car in my pajamas. I had to run down the street to get a flyaway Amazon bubbles from somebody's garbage can that flew out when the machine took it from the street to dump it into the truck, to dump it back, to place it back on the street. These Amazon bubble things flying down my street. So my neighbors have seen me often running down the road, picking up flyaway plastic bags, and we all can, protect our own paradise right in our front yard and our backyard by cleaning up in a park, or just your street. If you have an HOA, get people involved. And it's really just about making small change that then affects big change, and in your own mindset and in others that will see you do it. So it's kind of a domino effect that will help our environment, which ends up helping us. I mean, what the latest statistics are saying is that we're all ingesting about a credit card size worth of plastics, consuming it, like ingesting it into our bodies monthly, I think it is, just due to the breakdown of plastic over time into smaller and smaller pieces, and even into powder form. And it's in our food, it's in our water, it's in our salt, it's in our air. So we need to stop that. We need to stop the production of it. HR 585 is a federal bill. HR 5845 is a federal bill, break free from plastics, that are going to put the onus on manufacturing companies not to pump out all this plastic, to think of alternatives. Hopefully Coca-Cola will go back to glass bottles. Oh, hello, little guy. They follow us down the beach a lot of times when we're going through the seaweed. So again, you can talk to your city, town, village, council members about ordinances that can help people understand that they don't need the straw. People get upset, well, I want the straw. Well, do you know what's behind the reason why we don't want you to have that plastic straw? So ordinances aren't just controlling things, it's educating individuals and citizens about what's happening out there. And we as Floridians really need to be that much more cognizant of it, because it is right here under us, in our water systems and around us, in our oceans and our parks.
Diane, I have some questions for you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. What changes have you seen in the last several years? Are there any good changes, bad changes?
Well, I don't want to talk about the elephant in the room, but there is a big elephant in the room that has been a bad change, overturning a lot of environmental work that many have done for decades. But on a local level, great changes are many more students that I see on a weekly, monthly basis that come to my cleanups have formed groups. One in particular, Surface 71, came out of Coniston Middle School a few years ago. These kids are now taking the ball and running with it. And the children are inheriting this. So it's phenomenal for me to see them so inspired and so passionate about doing something to preserve and protect their paradise, their own, they're Florida kids. They love what they love about surfing and snorkeling and swimming and just, going to the green parks. And they've now taken it on themselves to protect it. And they're going not just in getting water bottle refill stations into schools, but talking in front of other kids and their peers. And there's another group in Wellington that has gone in front of the county commission and their city commission, and also up in North Palm. So civic minded, getting in front of the leaders that are making the difference and making the change and making the ordinances and controlling our environment for us through their elected spot. Speaking to them is huge, and I've seen more and more kids doing that, and many more adults that have been eco-minded, eco-friendly, doing more things about it. Right here in Palm Beach, there's an environmental committee on the Palm Beach Civic Association group, and they have passed ordinances about the toxic chemicals that people are using in their beautifully landscaped properties, to eliminate that and to get back to a natural environment, because they're right on the ocean and they're right on Lake Worth Lagoon, and their impact can be huge, and their solution can help go a long way. So there's been a lot of positives. That keeps me going, because every day picking up trash can get depressing. But the wonderful things that are happening out there, this group, Anjari, came into our world a few years ago. They're a phenomenal research vessel that also works with students, not only here, but nationally, to give them a glimpse as to what's under that beautiful surface right here. My education from local residents here on Palm Beach, as well as other individuals that don't snorkel and scuba dive, is that that looks like a beautiful surface, but what's underneath it is absolutely amazing. The symbiotic world that exists down there and how it is so balanced, and we are so upsetting that balance is bad. That educating on that front to let them know about the coral reefs. We have one huge coral reef system right along here, our barrier reef. And over the course of 30 years diving, it has decimated and due to human impact. And that is our first line of defense in storm surge with not only hurricanes, but with nor'easters. So that reef, that turtle, those sea cucumber, all those creatures out there, keeping that healthy reef system are so important. So it's not only that we want a clean beach to walk on, that guy, but we want a system that is balanced and hopefully can go back to some semblance of its original state where it all worked. And we didn't have to think about clean air and clean water on a daily basis that many of us do in the work that I do in the environment. So long answer to hopefully get to the point.
Well, I also want to ask, you know, a lot of people think there's tons of trash and they think it's never going to stop coming. And they also believe that it's coming from, and sometimes it is coming from different countries even. And what do you say to those people? You know, should they care about what's going on locally?
Oh, yes. Well, so as Americans, we are one of the wealthiest nations. We are one of the top consumers of all of this single-use plastic. So we are up there with the other foreign nations as the polluters, because just by nature of consumption. And we have recycling programs, but a lot of it is not done correctly. And prior to China ban, you know, China no longer is buying our plastics because it was just too contaminated. There's too many different kinds. They can't repurpose it. So they said, no more, America, we're not buying your plastic. But, you know, before that, lost my train of thought. So China was buying our plastic. They are no longer. So other countries are now, it's being pushed out to other countries. Our plastic is going to other nations. Then it in turn is ending up in the ocean. So it may not seem like our plastic, but it is in the end of the game because it then comes back to us in a strange way. We're shipping it elsewhere for it to be repurposed. It can't be repurposed readily. You watch the story of plastic. It's heartbreaking to see these young kids in these, you know, in Vietnam and Malaysia and wherever it is now ending up living amongst it because their villages are trying to repurpose it and do something about it. So, and again, like I drive Southern Boulevard every day and it is loaded with trash. I have a direct line to Florida Department of Transportation because I take photographs of overladen sewer systems. Our stormwater drainage systems are impacted so immensely with the plastics that end up in these drains that, you know, flooding's a problem. We all worry about flooding. Well, these systems are clogged with bags and plastics, and it isn't readily collected because they're just not doing it. It's just not an effectively managed system here, right here in the United States. So yes, we get a lot of foreign debris, but we're right there, we're neck and neck as far as our consumption and what we're adding to the problem as Americans. And, you know, the onus is on the taxpayer to recycle. And we all don't do it wonderfully. And a lot of times it's not in the bin, it's somewhere else, which ends up in the environment. All drains lead to waters here. So there's a problem globally. And we can't blame anybody else. We have to look inward. We can't look outward because it's affecting all of us at the end of the day. And we need to start, you know, taking one small step and then make that next step. And then you've got a lot of steps that you've already started towards making a difference in your world. Simply, even if you're just staying at home, you can change, you know, when I was doing Instacart at the beginning of COVID, I made sure they put stuff in paper bags. And, you know, no plastic bags, please, no plastic bags. We are just being a part of the problem. Right. And we need to be the solution.
Yes, that is very true. And you mentioned our stormwater system in the city of West Palm Beach. In some of our stormwater canals, we've actually put in what's called water goats. And that's hopefully, you know, an initiative that is going to hopefully help with the problem. But again, you know, we have to take responsibility ourselves and really, you know, make sure that we are not being part of the problem. I want to move on to some of these other questions. What's some of the most unusual things that you found? And then also, what are the most common things that you find?
Well, somebody laughed the other day when I told them about finding a toilet seat and toothbrushes. They are all too regular, and that's not odd anymore to us because it was all too common. Bottle caps. So I'm going the opposite way that my crew is. Bottle caps are way, way, way too common. I wonder where all the bottles. So unusual lately, the latest unusual thing is something that is potentially off of a World War II wreck, a German merchant ship transporting rubber in a bale. Crepe rubber is the way they transported it. It was created in Malaysia, and the U.S. forces sunk this ship off of Brazil, and hundreds of these bales are washing ashore in Brazil and Belize, and now we have found 5 here in Palm Beach, and I have them for the scientists at Woods Hole and the University of Brazil right in my backyard, just waiting for collection. So that's one of the more interesting, unique, I don't think I can get that, but do you see it? It's a shoe.
See it.
So, the fun stuff is the little toys, and we create little things with Barbie dolls and stuff. Always they're naked. For some reason, Barbie dolls are always naked, but, I laugh at myself some days when I find everything from my household potentially on the beach. Things that you take for granted and you think you're throwing it out and it's being managed, and it's not. And that's not typically here. We have a phenomenal, system that works when it really works, but elsewhere, just south of us in Haiti and Cuba, they don't have these systems. They live amongst this trash. The ocean takes it away on their beaches, and it ends up right here because of the way that the Gulf Stream, the loop current works. So, what's one person's interesting find is another's disgusting find. Toilet seats to me are funny, but you really don't want to find them on the beach. We do. So it's a plethora of stuff. And again, we're doing a study with Loggerhead Marine Life Center and others that are contributing to it on lollipop. Chupa Chupa decided that, that whole rolled paper one is no longer good. They're plastic now, and they're everywhere. Hundreds and hundreds of them in just a week we have collected on just our beaches. So they're putting the data together to go after, hopefully find the origin and just make it stop, because people aren't going to be stopping unless, it's a clock bag. I can put the trash in that. If we don't hold them accountable. And accountability is huge. This is from Haiti. It's a vinegar container. The white ones are Clorox. So this is the fish have nipped at it. And it's broken apart just by photodegradation, but it's also triggerfish have taken little nips out of it. And maybe even hatchlings. So that's a direct sign that this stuff is being ingested.
And is there a way for people to track, if someone was to go out and do a cleanup on their own, is there a database where they can put in what they found?
Oh, sure. So Ocean Conservancy, their International Coastal Cleanup is actually tomorrow, the official date, but it's being done over the course of months with groups, just due to COVID, and we can't get large groups out on the beach. But Clean Swell is their app, and it's pretty cool. You can, you find 5 bottle caps, you just tap in 5, and then you can send the data, collect everything that you tap in everything you've collected, and then you send it off to them to put into their larger database, and then they make actually cool comparisons to make people understand the depth of the problem. Like one year, there were so many water bottles found that it would fit 6 Empire State Buildings or something like that. They have formulated it to put into more interesting terms rather than 95 zillion million water bottles. So yeah, Clean Swell app is the one we use most readily. There's others for different data, but that is the best one for anybody that wants to go out and collect their own. They're citizen scientists.
Yes, and I think that, if everyone can do it themselves, you don't have to necessarily sign up, to go out a specific time with a specific group. we all can go out and do this at any time. And another question we received in the chat, what do you do with all the trash and plastic that you pick up?
So we have arrangements with dumpsters around the island to dispose of the trash. And we use, we have different with canvas bags and recycle bags to put the plastics in. So we separated trash and plastics, and then we put the plastics in the recycling bins around the island and at the locations of the dumpsters if they happen to have a larger recycle bin for us. So it's separated. A lot of it comes with gunk inside. We have to pick and choose what can actually be recycled. At one point, I was sending shipping bags, huge shipping bags off to TerraCycle. Procter & Gamble had a program, they were making shampoo bottles out of it, but that unfortunately ended. But some of this beach plastic isn't as photodegraded as you think it should be, and it's still in good shape to be repurposed and recycled.
And what about I know there was a group with Coniston Middle School that was making art sculptures out of plastic found on the beach. Are they still working on that, or do you know?
Well, so yes, that's Surface 71, the positive story I was telling earlier, versus all the negatives that can be out there. These kids started in Coniston Middle School, Surface 71. They created these phenomenal sculptures. Rubbish Reef, Esmeralda Eel, is being tweaked right now to end up at her new location, which will be Loggerhead Marine Life Center when they open their new center. And then we have Harry the Hammerhead, which is at the Historical Society Museum downtown, which hasn't opened yet, but he's there waiting for visitors to come see him and might join Esmeralda down the road. And they're based off of the Wash to Shore group. It's phenomenal sculptures that were here at Mounts. And I think are coming back to Mounts in the future, but these kids did a terrific job of coming out and collecting with me, cutting, sorting, cleaning, and not in that order, and then creating these phenomenal sculptures to talk the talk. And people, I've sat in the background and I've watched, young and old stand in front of it and just be in awe of not only the kids made it, but what is in it and found on the beach that just shouldn't be.
So one final question, because we're right at 12:30. What would you say to someone who has never done a beach cleanup before, but they want to do their part? Are there any specific tools that they need to bring with them or anything they should be aware of?
Well, you probably should be using a grabber, but I can't multi-function here with the grabber. And I can lend them that grabber. We have the grabbers in the buckets. You know what? When we first started doing this, we missed some things, but now, black plastic bottle tops. Who knew? Black utensils. Who knew? I didn't. And then all of a sudden I started seeing them within the seaweed. So do what you can, get out there, pick up whatever you can. It makes a difference. And then as you do it, you'll start to see it more and more. And, you'll be cleaning more efficiently, but any cleaning is better than no cleaning at all. So just get out there, get a plastic bag, go to your local, coastal beach or your beach. The onus right now at a lot of the public beaches is on the lifeguards because of just funding or lack thereof. And tractors don't do a great job because they bury the stuff. So, again, I can lend you supplies, but if that doesn't happen, just go out and do it yourself. Get some disposable gloves. Just because if it's in a park, I don't know. The ocean does a good job of cleaning some of this stuff. So I don't feel like it's a problem right now without my gloves on, but I don't recommend anybody else do it. I kind of have a trash knowledge that I never thought I would, but I do.
Well, I want to thank you again so much, Diane, for joining us today. And I'm going to share my screen real quick. Please give us a follow on Facebook for the Office of Sustainability. We're WPB Green. And Friends of Palm Beach is at Friends of Palm Beach. And I believe, Diane, you're also on Instagram and Twitter, correct?
Yeah, yes. I don't know those handles. My driver takes care of that. I'm too old. Friends of PB, maybe it is. But yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and I have a website. So that's us.
Well, thank you so much. And everyone who has joined us today, I am going to be sending out the recording of this video so that you can share it with your friends and family for anyone who didn't attend today. And I'll also include all of the important links that we shared. I do see a couple more things coming in. Who can I contact at the Office of Sustainability? You can contact, Rita, you can contact us at sustainability@wpb.org. And again, I'm going to send out all of our contact information and all the important links that were shared today so that you guys can follow up. And any additional questions that you have, definitely send them to us. We'll be happy to help, Diane or myself. And just wanted to let everyone know we are with the Office of Sustainability. We are going to be at the Green Market on October 3rd. That's opening day. We're going to be giving away free trees and also some other great giveaways as well that we'll have out there, including reusable items that Diane has mentioned today. So I hope you all will join us there, and thank you again for joining us, and thank you, huge shout out to Diane with Friends of Palm Beach for partnering with this program.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great Friday. Bye.